Ghost in the Shell. Now this of course is going to be my spoiler-free review for the film. If you guys want to skip over this and check out my spoiler discussion, there will be a link in the description once that video is actually uploaded, which probably won't be super late, or it won't be until super late. But getting into this film, I really enjoyed it. I actually thought it was a decent action film, and it was a pretty good recreation of the series, although they kind of blended some stuff together. Like, they have a lot of scenes are definitely from the original film, but the actual story itself is kind of taken more from, I believe it's taken more from like the second season of Standalone Complex, for obviously the first anime in the series. And in that regard, I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball, because I like this movie, and of course I'll definitely get to all the controversy and everything behind it. But as far as what they did going into this, I was looking forward to seeing this movie because I like the anime, both the movie as well as the series. And I've seen the first 2 seasons of Standalone Complex. I haven't seen Arise and the more recent stuff, so I'm pretty far behind considering that was like 2003 was like the second season. But it was still pretty good, and I think they did a good job as far as the world. Without a doubt, the best thing in this whole film are like the visuals. Like, it looks absolutely phenomenal. I think everybody knew that from the beginning. So you have the robots, like the geisha bots, and you have other characters with their augmentations and stuff, and body parts here and there look really great. Like the crazy 3D billboards that are popping out. You got giant people all over the place. They literally had, and it's in the trailer, but the part where she's walking down the street and there's literally just 2 koi fish just floating in midair. I'm like, what is that an ad for, and what store does that belong to? It was like the middle of the street, and these things just were floating. I'm like, what store would that belong to? Like, how am I supposed to know that? But it was really cool. I love the visuals in that regard. The costumes were actually really good that they had for the characters. So of course we get to see, we don't get to see like the purple outfit where she's like in that weird V onesie thing with the leggings, but we do get, of course, the full white bodysuit, which is pretty cool. And they also do a pretty good job of, for like a split second, it's not as often as I thought, but we do see like the Arise outfit where she's in the red outfit. Of course we get the sort of combat outfit and everything like that, so that was pretty cool too. Bato, he has his outfit. He doesn't really look like he does in the series, where he gets to have like his normal outfit too much. We do get to see him in the jacket, but it just didn't look exactly the same. It was kind of just like, it didn't really look a ton like him. It was just like, yeah, he's just in the jacket and some pants. But the combat outfits were good. I suck with names, so I can't remember the name of the leader of Section 9, but they had him in like this really awesome suit the whole freaking movie, where it was like a suit, but it looked like a kimono on the top instead of a normal just like suit. And I was like, that's a sweet freaking suit. Like, it just looked cool the whole movie. He was awesome, just based on style alone. But he has some cool moments as well. And like I said, good action movie. And that's kind of where it falters. It's just a really good action movie, but it doesn't jump into what I was looking for. This is one of the few instances where I, of all people, would say, I wanted more drama, because that's what I was looking for. That's what Ghost in the Shell truly is about. And I feel like they easily could have done the perfect blend of really good action sequences and that drama, but with the way they mix the stories together, we have like the action set pieces from the original film, and then the story, like I said, I believe is from the second season of Standalone Complex, with the Kuzo villain instead of the Laughing Man, which I really wish they went with the Laughing Man character, even though that basically would have been exactly the original film. So maybe that was a part of it where they wanted to change that up a bit. But I feel like that character forces them to go a bit more into the concept of literally the Ghost in the Shell. And it's really good in the beginning, where they talk about it quite a bit because we're introduced to the characters. And this is where I was really upset, because there's one character that I felt needed like 18 times more screen time, and that's the human character. Like I said, I can't remember all the characters' names. It's been years since I've actually watched Standalone Complex. But the character that's human completely, I wish he was in this a lot more, because he has so much to do with the original film, and he doesn't have like the biggest role ever, but in general, Section 9 isn't really shown off too much in this. But he was the one. If there's any character that I wish got more screen time, it was definitely him, because of course it goes Kusanagi, then it's Bato, and then maybe I would say the leader is number 3, and then right under him, or like really close, would be the character who has no augmentations. He's just a human, and he doesn't want any augmentations. And I was like, man, I really wish we got to see more of him. He doesn't have, there's a segment I remember from the original film where that kind of comes into play, because he gets into a bit of a shootout, And it's like he doesn't have those augmentations where he can dodge really fast or he could take a shot because like, oh, that part's not real or anything. It's like, it's dangerous for him. And I was like, man, they kind of missed out on that opportunity by at least showing him off a little more. But he was kind of in the background like the rest of the group was. You know, we see all the characters in there, but we don't really see them do anything. Like, some of them get glimpses. We have the sniper for like half a second. He does his thing. And we see all the other characters show up and do some stuff. And then it's just like, okay, they're there. You know, they aren't in a lot of it either. So that's an unfortunate thing if you're looking for like Section 9. Sadly, you just don't get that. You get Matogo and Bato, and then there's some scenes when the film kind of goes on a little further. We have the head of Section 9 doing some stuff too. But it was a good action film. Like I said, the main crux of this, I would personally say, is the fact that they didn't go as deep as they could have. And they started strong with that, I felt. Like I said, introducing the characters, talking about, you know, getting more augmentations and stuff like that, even for like the stupidest little things. And I was like, this is cool. It's like just a easy way to get into it. And then it was just kind of dumbed down, and I was like, well, that's super unfortunate, because that was the crux of this, you know, series. That's what made it so insane. It also has some really good action in it. Even the original, even though it's not nearly as action packed as this is, still has some good action sequences. But you know, the heart of it is the whole, literally in the title, the ghost in the shell. Like, what does it mean to be human, and how far can you go before you're no longer human? And you know, especially with our main character being 100%, it's hard to even say android, like she's just a brain in a body. So, you know, they just didn't touch on that as much as I would have liked them to, and that's my main issue with the film. But I still think it did a good job. There's like, you know, it's a little talky part once it gets after, I'd say after like our second big action set piece, that's when some of the stuff starts to slow down a little, and that's where I think it really started to falter for me, because like I mentioned, as far as the actual Ghost in the Shell concept, they could have done it even with the story that they had for the villain they used. Like both Laughing Man and Kuzo, they could have certainly done it well. And I felt they went a really generic route, and I was just like, wow, that kind of sucked, because I was like, they easily could have gone into the super philosophical stuff, but it just seemed kind of like a normal thing. Like, oh, there's just a part in the film, I can't even vaguely reference exactly how it plays out, but there's just a part in it where I was like, oh, that I felt that was kind of generic. And then it led to something that I thought was very interesting for them to do, solely based on all the controversy that's happening, and that I have to go into my spoilers for. But it was really funny because it made me think of Iron Fist, where I was like, man, that was just an unfortunate decision to do this specific scene or have this specific moment play out. And that's, you know, just has nothing to do with the actual series. It was just like, it's unfortunate, all this controversy, and then there's just something random that'll happen where it's like, ooh, that could easily get picked apart. And I've already seen it picked apart once, and for those of you who've seen the movie, you probably know which part I'm talking about. But there's like, you know, some stuff that happens later on. It's like, ooh, had something going, and there are going to be a lot of people upset that they kind of flipped it, because they did something very interesting in the beginning of this. And once again, that's spoilers that I can't really get into. But I was like, okay, that's not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like this, and then, you know, it wasn't that way. And so as the movie plays out, I was like, okay, that's interesting how they're kind of playing things, and then it kind of changes up on me again. I was like, oof, don't know if that was the smartest decision. So, you know, it'll just be what it's going to be at this point. But I personally enjoyed the film. I think if you're a fan of the movie, the original film, you'll like it, but I think you'll kind of feel like I felt, where it's like you go into it wanting, you know, maybe, yeah, the cool action sequences just done in live action with even more vibrant colors and stuff, and you'll certainly get that, but then you'll want the super epic stuff where it's like, here's all the psychological elements and all that, and it's just like, that's really where it falters. And it's like, if they ever get a sequel, which I heard the movie's been flopping, so I kind of doubt that's going to happen, plus all the controversy as well, I just don't know if it's going to happen. Just as a fan of the series, I would love for them to get a sequel, but I just don't know if it's going to happen, unfortunately. But I think this was a good adaptation. They just kind of, you know, and it's crazy to say it's good, because I feel like they missed the main point, but it was still a good movie to watch. That's the crazy thing about it. So like, the main point is the psychological element, which they missed, but even with missing that, they at least reference it a bit, and they kind of make up for it in some of the action sequences if you go into it. They kind of do what Hollywood will typically do, controversy choices aside. They will do the action thing, and it's like, this is complex, and let's just pick this stuff out, and boom, action. So that's kind of what we got, and it was still fun to watch. I would certainly say, like, if you're a fan of the anime, I think you would enjoy this film. Obviously, if you're having an issue with the controversy, you will not enjoy this film, especially the part that I'm thinking of. So you certainly won't if you're watching this anyway. But yeah, I personally, I thought it was a fine film. And I'd be curious to see where they would go if they got a sequel, because I think if they went into, heck, even the other characters, like I said, Section 9 really isn't in this. It's really three of the characters, and that's our main character. Then we have Bato, and then we have the leader of Section 9. And that's kind of it. Our villain shows up more than some of the Section 9 members, and it's just like, that kind of sucks, because especially if you watch the first film, which is weird, because it's the same amount of time. And that's kind of, like I said, sort of the Hollywood thing where it's like, it's the same film. I think the first one is about 2 hours long, like hour 45 minutes. And this one's 2 hours, or timed at 2 hours. And, they took out a lot of the psychological stuff and threw in some of the action stuff. And I felt like there's definitely space for both. Like, even if they kept every action sequence, all the talky parts, if they switched them to just more of the psychological stuff, it would have had exactly what the film needed. And instead it kind of went a more generic route where it was just like, oh, this happened, and then that happens, and then we go to the next part. And I was like, man, all the talky stuff could have easily been exactly where they threw in the psychological element, especially because, of course, it's going normal movie beat. It happens after a nice period of time, and that's where you get sort of the talky stuff. And I was like, that could easily, worked, and then they just put in different stuff that I can't really specify. But I did enjoy this film, of course. Would love to know what you guys thought about it if you've seen the film. If you want to put, major spoilers, you can either wait until my spoiler discussion or just put a spoiler tag in the comments so people don't get spoiled on what's happening in the movie. But I'd love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a spoiler video, which I'm going to do right after this one, and I will definitely be getting into more of the controversy stuff, because I feel like I can't get into that without spoiling certain elements of this, even for people that know the original story. There's some stuff they do in here, especially blending stories together. There's some stuff that they switch up that I feel definitely applies to some of the controversy elements and things like that. So all of that stuff will be in the spoiler video when I end up doing that. But like I said, I want to know what you guys thought about this, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.